Hi, I'm John Byrne with Poets&Quants, and with me today for our one-on-one interview is Jim Ellis, the Dean of USC's Marshall School of Business. Welcome, Jim.
Thanks, John. Good to be here.
So tell me why I should go to USC's Business School.
We have the absolute best alumni network of any university in the world.
The Trojan Network.
The Trojan family that are so superb at helping our alums and our graduates find jobs and great opportunities. It's really a wonderful thing for the kids to know they've got a support group right behind them.
And everywhere you go, you hear about the Trojan Network. How come? I mean, what's the special sauce?
I think the special sauce is that we start with these kids when they are first day freshmen as undergrads or first day MBA students, and we talk to them about giving back. And part of giving back is helping those behind you create careers that they want to create, just like you did yours. And it's one of those things that everybody wants Trojans to be successful. It's a great network. It's wonderful.
I spoke with a group of your students today, and they all talked about the network, and they also talked about how they have mentors in the network. They've gotten job opportunities through internships and full-time offers through the network, how the network has helped them prepare for job interviews. It's pretty extraordinary.
It's very supportive and critical. They are critical. They want them to be prepared because they represent their alma mater. And if you're going to represent my alma mater, you better be prepared. And they're tough. They're tough,
Yeah.
which is great.
I mean, the other big asset you have is your location.
Yes.
Talk
yes.
a little bit about what's going on in Southern California here.
Well, Southern California has become an extremely entrepreneurial part of the world. Silicon Beach is now starting to rival Silicon Valley. So much of what happens in Silicon Valley is relative to the delivery of product, the hardware. So much of what happens in Silicon Beach is relative to the content that goes through the hardware. So we're part of the entertainment industry down here. As a result, we've got a lot of content that's being developed. We have 9,000 startup companies in Santa Monica, California alone. And so we've got a huge startup environment here that we are just feeding with these students as they leave school.
So what's an MBA likely to encounter in the program?
MBA is going to encounter a couple of things. They're going to get their solid hard skills, very much focused on strong academics. They are going to have a global experience where we will send them abroad for a period of time to do a consulting project in some part of the world with a company that's looking for some help. They'll make the presentation to the board about their recommendations as if they were their own consulting company. Then they have an opportunity in their second year to pick up a lot of electives that may or may not be just in the business school. It may be at Marshall, but it may also be at our cinematic arts school, which is #1 in the country. It may be with our communications school. So they can take advantage of a world-class research university and all the assets it has to offer. It's not only what they do in their MBA program and learning their accounting, statistics, finance, but it's also where they can go outside the school to augment that education.
In fact, your global trip each year is in the Pacific Rim, right?
It is, yes.
And that's primarily because you're just sitting here and it's easy to take advantage of, or it's because you believe that the Pacific Rim is really where most of the growth in the future is going to occur?
So what I'm about to say isn't politically correct, but the fact that what happens in Europe is really behind us.
Yeah.
Europe is mostly a museum. It's a history lesson. History is being made in Asia. And the growth of GDP in those countries is such that our students want to go where growth is. And we're fortunate that we're sitting here on the Eastern Rim. We have been extremely aggressive in wanting to build our networks over there, and it's worked. It's been really good. It's been great for our students. They go over there, they see the alumni that are there, the alumni network that you and I talked about, very vibrant and alive in those big cities over there.
So you've got a lot going on here, including the construction of a major new building.
We needed more space, not because we were growing from a student population standpoint, but because we were actually, in our undergraduate population, shrinking the size of our classes. The average size of the class has gone down, so we get a much better faculty-student ratio where our faculty really get to know the students better. And as a result, we needed more rooms to do the teaching that we wanted to the same number of undergrads and MBAs. and we needed to have space for an incubator, and we needed to have space for a lot of experiential things like you talk about our Experiential Learning Center, where we do a lot of practicing of presentations and speaking. We need more space for that, so we put a lot of that in place as well.
The other thing you do is you take them early, right? You get the core out of the way fairly quickly.
Yes.
So that when they show up for their internship during the summer, they're probably head and shoulders over some of the other MBAs they may encounter, other programs where the core lasts through the entire first year.
Yeah, what we started to do, we found that they needed to be prepared for their interviews, number one. And if interviews start at the end of September or in October, we brought them in at the end of July to then spend the month of August and September getting them ready, little business speak, they understand vocabulary, they understand concepts, they're prepared for those internships. Second semester of their first year, they can then prepare to go to work in those internships. If they know what the internship is and what industry it's in, they can focus on that when they're studying in their second semester. So they'll really be prepared when they start that internship in the summer. And then it becomes a matter of how they get the job out of that.
Now, are you finding increased interest in entrepreneurship on the campus?
We've always had
Yeah.
interest in entrepreneurship. I think we find more startups that start to creep out of our programs, both undergrad and MBA. We have a lot of incubators and accelerators all over the place to help these kids jumpstart their businesses. You can walk out if you're ready to run a company.
So you also have an online option. Talk a little bit about that one.
We started actually with an online Master's in Business Taxation. We have, as I said, our Masters of Global Supply Chain offering, but we thought that the ultimate would be an online MBA. And got a lot of pushback, but I kept going and saying we have to try this. We have to try and see what our customer, if you will, wants.
Right.
And when you think about an online MBA, it's really just another means of delivery. We have a full-time MBA where you go to school all week. We have a PM program, our part-time MBA, you go to school at night. An online MBA, you go on your computer. It's a different way to get the same information, to get the same kind of education. We're going to go very slowly. We're not looking at this for revenue. We're not looking at this for anything other than let's see if we're good at it and what it means to us.
Your best advice to an applicant to the MBA program would be what?
Make sure that you are ready to go to work, because we're not giving these degrees away. You're going to work very, very hard. And be prepared to enjoy it, build your own network, and work your tail off.
John Byrne with Poets and Quants.